Antonia, at 45 years old, stared at herself in the mirror with a mixture of exhaustion and disappointment. The expression lines, once considered charming, now seemed to betray a fading youth, a relentless time that forgave no one. Her reflection did not bring her joy, only the realization of a beauty that, though still present, no longer radiated the same vigor as before. Her marriage to Ricardo, a renowned lawyer, once a promise of eternal happiness, had transformed into a predictable and cold routine. The passion, that fire that had driven her to build a life with him, had been extinguished, leaving only the lukewarm embers of mutual respect and a social contract sealed by years of coexistence. Her social life, once so vibrant and stimulating, now felt like a burden. The dinners at expensive restaurants, the high society parties, the conversations about politics and economics, all sounded empty and artificial. Antonia felt like an actress playing a role that no longer suited her. The imposing house in the upscale neighborhood, with its designer furniture and valuable artwork, seemed more like a prison than a home. Her children, now grown and independent, had gone their own way, leaving behind a void that Antonia didn't know how to fill. Ricardo, absorbed in his successful career, hardly noticed his wife's discontent. He saw her as a trophy, an elegant and intelligent companion, perfect for accompanying him to events and impressing his clients. Displays of affection were rare and perfunctory, as if following a predefined script. Antonia longed for a genuine touch, a passionate gaze, a sincere conversation that would make her feel loved and valued. But Ricardo was distant, trapped in his world of work and ambition. It was in this scenario of loneliness and dissatisfaction that Samuel, the 18-year-old son of Maria, the housemaid, appeared like an unexpected whirlwind. Samuel was everything Antonia didn't know, everything her refined and predictable world did not allow. Young, black, with a vibrant energy and a wild beauty that disturbed and fascinated her. His dark, intense, and curious eyes seemed to see through her social armor, revealing the vulnerable and needy woman hiding behind the facade of a perfect wife. Samuel had been called to help with house chores during his school vacation, a favor Maria had done for the family for years. But the young man's presence soon became a constant focus in Antonia's mind. She found herself watching him work in the garden, admiring the strength of his muscles and the grace of his movements. She felt a strange warmth rush through her body when he approached, a forbidden desire that both scared and excited her. At first, there were only furtive glances, discreet smiles, the exchange of a few kind words. Antonia felt guilty for being attracted to a boy so much younger, the son of her maid. She reprimanded herself, reminding herself of her role as a wife, mother, mature woman. But the attraction was inevitable, a force that consumed her from within, rekindling a fire she had believed long extinguished. Samuel's mere presence in her house made her feel alive again, awakening emotions she had buried deep inside. Samuel, in turn, also felt the strange electricity in the air. He saw in Antonia an elegant and sophisticated woman, but also a certain sadness, a repressed desire. He noticed the lingering glances, the smiles that lasted a little longer than necessary. He knew it was wrong, that there was a social and generational abyss between them, but curiosity and attraction were stronger than reason. The mature beauty of Antonia, combined with her vulnerability and kindness, attracted him like a magnet. He felt flattered by the attention he received from this woman admired by everyone, and the thought of conquering her excited him deeply. Their encounters became more frequent, their conversations longer and more intimate. Antonia felt rejuvenated in Samuel's presence, as if he brought forth a part of her that had been dormant. They talked about everything: music, books, dreams, fears. Antonia opened up to Samuel in a way she couldn't with Ricardo, revealing her insecurities, frustrations, and loneliness. Samuel listened with genuine attentiveness, offering a friendly shoulder and a look of understanding. He made her feel seen and valued, something she hadn't experienced in a long time. The growing closeness between Antonia and Samuel did not go unnoticed by Maria. The housemaid, with her wisdom and life experience, noticed the exchanged glances, the knowing smiles, the air of tension between them. Maria worried about her son, aware of the risks involved in that forbidden relationship. She tried to warn Samuel, to dissuade him from following such a dangerous path, but he was blinded by passion. He believed that Antonia truly loved him and that together they could overcome all obstacles. Moreover, he saw the possibility of social ascension through that relationship, leaving behind the poverty and hardships he had always known. Antonia, on the other hand, fought against her own demons. She knew she was playing with fire, that a relationship with Samuel was a mistake, a transgression that could destroy her life and everyone else's around her. But the attraction was irresistible, a drug that made her feel alive again. She believed she deserved to be happy, even if that happiness was built on the quicksand of betrayal. She justified her actions with the idea that her marriage had been dead for a long time and that she had the right to seek happiness wherever she found it. The fateful day arrived on a hot and stifling summer afternoon. Ricardo was away on a business trip, the children were on an exchange program. Antonia and Samuel were alone in the house, the atmosphere charged with desire. The tension was palpable, the air almost unbreathable. A touch, a kiss, and the moral barrier Antonia had struggled to maintain crumbled like a house of cards. Guilt, fear, shame, everything was momentarily forgotten in the midst of an explosion of passion. The betrayal happened, raw and intense. Antonia gave herself to Samuel, seeking in him what she no longer found in her marriage: passion, admiration, the feeling of being desired. Samuel, in turn, surrendered to Antonia, fascinated by her beauty and sophistication, feeling powerful for having conquered the heart of a woman so admired and respected. The affair became an obsession. Antonia and Samuel met in secret, savoring every stolen moment. The adrenaline of the forbidden, the intensity of the passion, made them feel alive. But the relationship was unsustainable, a ticking time bomb ready to explode. The lies ate away at Antonia's soul, and guilt tormented her at every moment. She felt trapped in a labyrinth of desires and secrets, unsure of how to escape. Antonia felt increasingly torn. She loved Samuel with an overwhelming intensity, a consuming passion that made her feel as if she were 20 years old again. But she also loved Ricardo, or at least what he represented: security, stability, the life she had built with so much effort. She knew she was walking toward an abyss, but she couldn't free herself from the web of desire and lies in which she was entangled. Guilt gnawed at her from within, but passion prevented her from ending the affair. Antonia lived in an emotional whirlwind, tormented by the possibility of being discovered and losing everything. Samuel, in turn, became increasingly passionate and possessive, wanting Antonia to leave Ricardo and make their relationship public. He believed they deserved to be happy together, regardless of the consequences. The pressure mounted each day. Maria, desperate, tried to convince Samuel to distance himself from Antonia, fearing the consequences of their affair. Ricardo, oblivious to everything, continued living his life as always, distant and unaware of the signs that something was wrong. He believed he had a perfect marriage and that his wife was completely happy by his side. Then, the bomb exploded. Ricardo discovered the affair in the most brutal and unexpected way. One day, returning early from a business trip, he found Antonia and Samuel together in his own home. The sight left him in shock, fury, and humiliation consuming him. From that moment on, Antonia's world collapsed. The divorce was inevitable and bitter. Hurt and enraged, Ricardo spared no effort in punishing Antonia. He hired the best lawyers and fought with all his might to ensure that she lost as much as possible in the separation process. Besides losing her husband, Antonia saw her financial situation deteriorate drastically. The house in the upscale neighborhood, the luxury cars, the artwork, everything was taken from her. The society that had once welcomed her now turned its back. Her friends avoided her, invitations to parties and social events ceased. Antonia became a pariah, a woman marked by the infamy of betrayal. Ostracism and loneliness became her constant companions. Samuel, for his part, was unable to handle the pressure of the situation. Frightened by the consequences of his actions and Ricardo's wrath, he distanced himself from Antonia, abandoning her to her fate. He disappeared from her life as suddenly as he had entered it, leaving behind a trail of pain and disappointment. Antonia found herself alone, without money, without friends, without love. Bitter and regretful, she wandered the streets of the city, trying to find new meaning in her life. The weight of her choices crushed her, and guilt consumed her from within. She realized she had traded a comfortable and secure life for a fleeting passion that led her to ruin. In the end, Antonia became a shadow of what she once was. A lonely, embittered woman, living on the fringes of society, haunted by the ghost of her choices. The betrayal she had sought to rekindle her inner fire had consumed her entirely, leaving behind only ashes and disillusionment. Antonia's story became a tragic example of the devastating consequences that an unrestrained pursuit of pleasure and a lack of consideration for others' feelings can bring. A life ruined by impulsiveness and the inability to cope with her own frustration.